Hey, what's going on? Felix here from Podcasting Secrets, and today we'll talk to you about the importance of having a catalog and a backlog of episodes way before you need them, way before you even have listeners. So I was watching an interview yesterday with a new rapper, or new popular rapper called Russ. I actually don't know any of his music, but I love hearing stories about people that have kind of built their own success, kind of self-made, and especially you see this a lot in the music industry. And I was watching an interview with him, and he had an issue where a lot of people thought he was industry plant. Industry plant is basically, you see this a lot with boy bands, right? Where a record label put together an artist, and they manufacture his background, manufacture their story, and push them out into the limelight, and act like if they're self-made, act like it was all organic. And he had a lot of problems because a lot of people were saying that his family had connections in the music industry and got him, basically put him on and gave him like access to the marketing, got him access to actually launching his career, and that discounting basically his success. And it was very problematic for him because his true story, he made him have to kind of throw his family under a bus, because his true story was that his family, I think his dad specifically, tried to start a business to help the family out, and the business actually failed horribly when they went bankrupt, and they basically were out on their luck, and they didn't have any money coming in, and they depended on Russ to bring in money for the family, to feed the family. And he wasn't making a lot of money at the time, but basically to survive they had to depend on him. And he had to come out with that story and basically essentially throws down under the bus and say that his dad actually did not have access to all of these connections, but actually almost ruined the family. And he said that he was able. So I was wondering, like, how was he able to succeed then if he didn't have access to all these connections? Because he actually became one of the, I think, Forbes 30 under 30 for music, and I think last year made $15 million from himself, self-made. I think he was relative independent and made his own money. And I wanted to know how he did it. And what he did was he observed that on SoundCloud specifically, where most of his downloads came from, a lot of people were giving albums a shot, and they would listen to the first song, but then basically bail after that. They would not listen to any songs after that. So he learned to build up 52 albums. So rather than releasing 52 songs once a week, he released 52 albums and put one song in each album, and kind of made that his spin. And it took a long time. He wasn't getting he didn't blow up overnight, of course, but it took a couple of years of doing this, and things started to pick up. So what he found was important was that it's so important for you to have a backlog, a bunch of songs, or a bunch of podcasts, a bunch of episodes for people to listen to, because no one can become your fan unless they have something to immerse themselves into. So you can imagine that someone might hear one of your podcast episodes and want to learn more about you, and then they show up on your show page, and all of a sudden you have 1, 2, 3 episodes, and that's it. They don't have enough exposure to you to truly become a fan, because it's like the same model that Netflix has, or any other new platform like Hulu has. When they release a show, they release everything at once, so they want you to binge it, and that's how you become a fan. If you have to slow trickle, or you watch one episode at a time, it takes a much harder time to develop that fandom, because you don't have a backlog, you don't have a catalog for you to consume and become a fan that way. And when people like something, they become rabid, and they're ready to consume as much as possible, as quickly as possible. You make them wait, and then they're not going to be as likely to do that. So that's exactly what I did with my podcast when I first launched it. Sort of on purpose, I heard this was a model that you should do, which was to have I think 8 episodes recorded and release them right away. I don't think I did them right away, but I released 8 once a day, basically for about a week and a half, and put out a bunch of episodes at once. And it wasn't like people were demanding it, because no one heard of it at the time. But then when people started to actually listen to my episode, when I released episode 50, for example, they're like, wow, I like this content, let me get more of it. They can go back and consume 49 other episodes, and that's how you build these kind of fans. Which is why it's important to be consistent and keep on putting out episodes even though you don't have any listeners yet, because at one point, when you do have listeners, you want to give them content that can allow them to become a super fan by being able to consume as much as they can. So that's what I learned about the importance of just creating a lot of content. This is what I'm doing here on Instagram too, where I'm getting 10, 20 people that are watching these things right now. And maybe you're watching this from the future, and I got hundreds of thousands of views. The important thing I'm trying to do is build a catalog, so someone can later catch one of my episodes or catch one of my posts and be like, oh, I want to hear more from this guy, more about this topic. And now they have hours and hours of content for them to go through and become a fan of my content. That's how some people can become a fan of your show. You can't build fans slowly. You can't build a podcast up slowly and have one episode here and there and expect to get lots of downloads. The point of doing a lot of episodes, doing consistently, so you have a catalog of people for people to come and become a fan of yours. So once you build your podcast up, once you get it going, once you're growing, and once you actually have listeners, the next thing you want to do is going to be able to monetize it. And it's important to monetize because you're going to want to be able to reinvest in your podcast. One of the first things I did when I started making $1,000 per month was to hire someone to do all the stuff I did not want to do. The editing, which took like 10 hours per episode, the posting, the coordinating with guests, all that stuff. To me, it wasn't interesting. What I want to do was just get on the phone, get on Skype, and talk and interview my guests, and that wasn't what was important to me. And I was able to outsource the rest because I was able to reinvest in my podcast. Only way I was able to reinvest in it and not actually lose money each episode was to be able to monetize it. So if you're interested in monetizing your podcast, or at least knowing what to do once you get to that point, make sure to get the Profit from Podcasting course, which is over at podcastingsecrets.co/profits. Again, podcastingsecrets.co/profit, and you'll learn how to monetize your podcast. I did it with ads, but there's so many different ways to monetize your podcast, which is why I brought on the top podcasters in different categories, had them teach how would they do it. If they lost everything, they lost their podcast, they lost their business off of their podcast, how would they start today in 2019 and build a podcast from scratch and monetize it to your first $1,000 per month. And I had them come on and teach that exact answer that exact question. So if you're interested in it, again, podcastingsecrets.co/profit, and hopefully it helps you out. Talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.